restore your old Sahara edition fog lamps. So in front of me, you can see I've got a disassembled fog light, which is from a 1993 Jeep Wrangler Sahara edition. And the problem that we have is, while we're getting power to the connector, we're not getting any light out of the fog, which means that most likely after 20 years, the bulb has gone out on us. So you can see the original bulb is still inside, and you've got a ground lug, which is black and on a spade, and then the positive, which goes straight into the light. Now we've removed the 4 screws that hold the grill on. When the grill comes off, the housing for the bulb will come out. Now, we bought a pair of Pilot Performance fog lights. They're about $30 a pair on Amazon. And what we did was we opened them up as well, and we extracted the bulb and the bulb mounting fixture. You can see there's a spring, this positive wire here that goes to a bulb, and this shiny silver piece in the center with the ground lug on it. We took those parts off the Pilot, and we just folded 3 tabs back to remove the old bulb connector. And what we did was we just gently hammered this new housing in without the spring or positive light on there. So this is actually, step 1 is already complete. The new light bulb is installed. And what we're going to do next is just show you how you can do a basic solder job to preserve the original factory Wrangler's connector. That way you can just plug it right in and it should turn right on. So you'll need to get your strippers, and you'll also need your basic cutting and crimping tool. So the first thing you need to do, get rid of the new bulb connectors right at the end there. Just cut them right off. You're going to cut off the old bulb. And lastly, the old ground lug. Next step, with your stripping tools that you have set out, you're just going to feed them into the most appropriate hole. Strip off about ½ an inch of material. You're just going to strip off about ½ inch of material. The braided cable, as you can see here, is pretty flaky, so don't worry, you just want to get off the plastic insulator inside. Repeat the process for all 4 of your wires. It's okay to strip off a little extra if you want some more wiggle room. The last one's going to be the most difficult, which is the grounding lug inside. There we go. Get your strippers out of your way. And then take a piece of heat shrink. You want it to be just a little bigger than wire, because it's going to shrink, but not a ton. So you want it as close to the size of the wire as you can. Slip it on, 1 piece onto each wire before you solder, and place it as far away from the joint as you can so that it doesn't shrink prematurely. Then you're going to want to take your 2 leads here. Now, you can pre-tin them, which is a term which means you put a little bit of solder onto each lead before attempting to solder it, which can make the process a little easier. I usually just take them and try to twist them around each other. That's just my method. It's a little lazy. Get them as straight as you can, and use something to prop up the other end if you need to. And just make sure before you apply the solder that it's in a position. This one's actually being really sour. Okay, come on. Stop embarrassing me. Get your solder out. Get your soldering iron. Make sure to touch the tip when it's hot to a wet sponge, just to clean the end off. And you're just going to place the tip on the wire and apply solder slowly Make sure to get it all the way around the wire. Now you'll notice there's white fumes rising off the wire. Do not breathe those. They are quite toxic depending on the type of solder that you're utilizing. Once the first solder joint is done, let it cool off and prepare the second one. Once the solder has been applied, give it a little tug test, make sure it doesn't fall apart, and just slide your heat shrink equally over the solder joint so it's nice and covered up. Once you've got the heat shrink over both joints, you can get your heat gun out or a small lighter if you don't have access to a heat gun. Just keep the flame away from it. You just want the residual heat to slowly shrink the heat shrink down over the wire. We don't have one here with us, otherwise we would show you right now. Once you have your heat shrink centered over the solder joint as so, you're going to want to apply some heat in order to engage the heat shrink to the wire. If you have a heat gun, set the setting to low and gently apply the heat, and you'll watch as the shrink slowly does what it's supposed to and shrink. Now if you don't have access to a heat gun and don't want to go out and buy one, you can use a simple lighter such as this Bic. You can use like a starter for your fireplace or even a match, but you're going to want to be careful with the open flame. So we're going to engage this here and just don't put the flame directly on it, but just bring it nearby, and you'll slowly see as you bring it close it's going to slowly shrink. Now this is a lot slower than using a heat gun, so you have to be patient. Bring it too close, you'll see there's a little bit of smoke. And just try to get down and get your other one. To ensure that parts don't fall off later, make sure to apply some solder to the ground lug. Because of the size of the plane of metal that you're heating up, it might take a moment for the solder to adhere both to the lug and to the terminal. Just really fill it up there. We're never going to take this part off. Give it a gentle tug, and you're good. So once you've got all your solder taken care of, your heat shrink done, you're going to place the bulb back in so that it sits as flush as possible. There is one locating tab, which isn't a snug fit by any means, so just lightly press it in there. Take your housing here, and you will see that it has a cutout on one end which matches up with another locator. So just line that up, and it's not going to be the easiest of fits. You have to fiddle with it a little bit because we're using up more space. Once you've got it lined up, you're just going to put in the 4 mounting screws like so, and you'll be done.